Great, we're gonna get started.
Thank you, Amanda. All righty. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting, January 13th, 2026. Before we begin, can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will start with a roll call here of board members online. Ms. Flegner?
Bob Legnight, Commissioner. Cindy is on there too.
Yep. Cindy? You're muted there, Cindy. There you
Yep,
go.
I'm here.
All right. Down there?
Kenny Percy, Commissioner.
Molly Doris, Commissioner.
Jeff DeRosa, Vice Vice Chair.
Mike Kozlowski, Chairman.
Dan Carter, First Selectman, ex officio member.
Amanda Martinez, Recording Secretary.
Online, anyone from the town?
Jeremy DeCarly, interim town planner.
Chuck Andrews.
Chuck Andrus, attorney for the commission.
Yeah, him.
Eric Swenson, Public Works Director.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Before we get going, I just want to seat Cindy Slater for our open seat. As I know, Eric hasn't been sworn in yet as a full-time member.
Has he? I'm not sure.
I don't know if that he has, but he was still an alternate.
Yes, so we have an open full seat. So
Yeah.
for now, it's just seating Cindy
Yeah.
Slater for the opening for the.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll go from there. And then also, before we get to the agenda, as requested at the beginning of the new year, I just want to read into the record our Bethel, Connecticut FOIA meeting policy, the Freedom of Information Act. And it reads as, to all elected and appointed boards and commissions, FOIA meeting policy. While a meeting is in session, the following protocol should be followed. 1, personal devices should not be used to communicate through any means, including text message, email, instant message, social media posts, or conversation. An exception will be made if the device is being used as part of a meeting session, i.e. a member is participating in the meeting via phone conference. If there is a need to communicate regarding personal business during the meeting, the member should excuse himself or herself from the meeting and exit the meeting room, or request the chair to move for a meeting recess. 2, any conversations by members or questions should be addressed to and through the chair. Talking, asking another member a question, or whispering any comments to another member should not take place. At public meetings, the public generally expects that business being conducted is public business. Pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, Connecticut General Statute 1-200, as amended FOIA Act, the public has a right to know what public officials say at public meetings on topics related to the public's business. Unless such statements are made during a proper executive session or are otherwise exempt from disclosure under the FOIA Act. Failure to adhere to the business of the meeting and or the aforementioned protocols could subject public officials to a FOIA request, requiring the disclosure of information that may be sensitive or inappropriate to public knowledge. In addition, a subsequent proceeding could be commenced with the FOIA Commission, which may result in significant expenditure of time and resources, a fine, board or commission actions being set aside, etc. Thank you, and please keep the above in mind at all times while you are participating in board or commission meetings. Daniel E. Carter, First Selectman. All right. We'll move on to number 3, public hearing. Up first, we have 3A PCZ 2515, 6070 Greenwood Ave LLC and 67 Greenwood Ave Property LLC and 69 Greenwood Property LLC site plan excavation and fill permit at 6769 Greenwood Ave. Jeremy, if there's anything of other information to add besides the fact that they've requested to be extended to the next meeting, which would be January 27th, is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No, that's the gist of it. They are reworking the site plan and we hope to have you something out to you, in advance of your next meeting to review.
Thank you, Jeremy. So that public hearing will be continued again to January 27th, 2026, right here in the meeting room, D. Up next, we have 3B, PCZ 2516, 1 Knollwood Drive, LC 830G, site plan application at 72 Reservoir Street. Do we have anyone that would like to speak on behalf of the application?
Yes, good evening, Attorney Josh Pedrera, Cohen and Wolf, on behalf of the applicant. Rather large shoes to fill here. My colleague Neil Marcus has handed this off to me, so I'm eager to proceed in his stead. So the last time we were here, I know Neil spoke, but I did accompany him. So my understanding was we did have a few issues, some of which we have tried to resolve. I know counsel is online right now. I know he did have conversations with Attorney Marcus. I'm not sure we have a consensus on that, and that's with respect to the title issue. However, just to kind of bring this full circle, so since we left here last time, as I recall, we had the issue with the snow removal, which I believe we did try to address, as well as the sightline issue, which we also tried to address. And I know Steve is on, our engineer, and he can speak to that more succinctly. We did reconfigure this. We did submit new drawings. We did move the northwest portion of the building back to accommodate the sightline issue. But I understand that may still be a point of contention here. So I will let Steve opine on that rather more specifically. And then I know Chuck and Neil have been in discussion regarding this title issue. I do not believe, and I will let Chuck chime in on that. I don't believe we have a consensus on that. Our position is still that we would like to move forward. Any issue that would ever arise with this title issue, and that's really that right-of-way portion regarding the road, Knollwood, essentially. The applicant is willing to hold harmless and indemnify, the town were any issue to arise, obviously. And I know my colleague, Attorney Marcus, spoke at length about this previously. The alternative would be utilizing Reservoir Road. That is not necessarily ideal. And I think the scope of the project and the nature of it is not going to be ideal. It's not really going to fit the character of the neighborhood. I know that the applicant would essentially have to build higher. I don't know how many units that would be, but it would be significantly more than the 6 that's proposed right now. And so I believe those to be the issues. But again, I know there's been some correspondence between the parties. I think a lot of the issue right now still remains to be the sightline issue. And again, I'll let Steve chime in on that. That's our position as to Knollwood. I believe we got past the snow removal issue, and we're willing to remove that as necessary. We can make that a condition, those snow accumulations. And so as far as I can tell, those were the issues from the last time. If there are other ones, I'd be willing to address them, obviously.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steve, would you like to continue that? Or
Yeah, I'll be brief, Mr. Chairman. Steve Trinkus, professional engineer for the applicant. The sight line meets the town of Bethel requirements. This is not a DOT road. The DOT requirements that Todd Ritchie continually cites are simply not applicable. We shifted the building 5 feet further south, so it is 8 feet plus off the property line, and it's another 10 feet to the edge of the pavement. So the building is not anywhere close to the sight line. We have way over 250 feet. We're approximately 290 feet. The rule of thumb, ever since I've done this in the late 70s, on municipal roads is 10 times the posted speed limit. It's a 25-mile-an-hour road, therefore it's 250 feet. We exceeded. These, both Reservoir and Knollwood, are existing roads. We are not proposing a road. So that's really all I have to say. We meet the standard, and that's it.
thanks, Steve. Jeremy, do you want to speak, or do you want Attorney Andrews to speak? I know both of you have kind of been going back and forth a little bit on the town, representing the town over the last month.
I'll let Attorney Anders start, and I'll jump in as needed, I guess.
Great, thank you. Chuck, you're muted there.
Chuck Anderson, attorney for the commission. There's sort of the two issues I think have been properly identified. The one is the issue of the work on this area between the edge of the pavement and before the property owns that we've talked about last time. So called the town road issue and the standing issue. And then the second is the sightline issue. I'll just address where we are on the town road issue. Again, remember, what's going on here is the applicant is proposing to put driveways and do a lot of grading and utilities on land that he doesn't own. It's not owned by the town, and there's no evidence that it's part of the town road. I think there's, stuff going back and forth. It was certainly dedicated to the town, this extra wide area, but as Melanie has researched and indicated, there's no indication the town ever accepted it. So you have this sort of dangling dedication, but never an acceptance. And we had some discussions. Well, is it too late to accept it now? Can you do it now? So we did. There is an ordinance about acceptance of existing streets. I've shared that with Attorney Marcus. The bottom line for this one is that we're addressing this by a condition of approval that requires the applicant to demonstrate to the town attorney that it has the right to do what it wants to do. And if additional approvals are needed from other boards, from the Board of Selectmen, because I mean, what's going on here is this is not something within the Planning Zoning Commission control. You don't accept roads. You don't, that's something another town function, and it's not something you have the ability to fix. You don't deal with title, you don't deal with road acceptance, other than approving them as part of subdivisions. But you don't actually do the accepting of the road, and it has to be done by other ones. So this basic condition says it's subject to either showing that there's something we missed, that maybe we have accepted it, open to that, or if you need to do it, there's an ordinance process, or there's some other ways to do it, and you got to present that evidence. And I spoke about this, frankly, with Attorney Marcus, and he doesn't. He's not excited about it because it will delay. You may be able to work it out with the Board of Selectmen and other agencies. And, the likelihood, maybe they take an appeal and see if they can work it out in the meantime. But from our point of view, we think it's supported by the record because it's simply work on land that's not owned by either side. You got to have authority to show that you have the right to do the work. And so that's sort of the gist of it. We're addressing it by condition, and when we get to the resolution, we can talk about that. So that's and no hiding the ball. That's I tossed versions of it back with Neil Marcus when he was around. So I don't think there's any surprise about this, but that's our recommendations to address that part. And then on the sightline issue, there's been additional comments from Todd Ritchie that I think some of the things that he clearly raised were the bottom line for the comments that Todd Ritchie raised, I think also can be addressed by conditions. There were certain things, and Jeremy, you can jump in. He pointed out, I think properly, that on the existing plan that there are some what were they? There was erosion controls or piles that could also obstruct this sight line that would need to be, make sure that's done, that they're out of the way, or they don't present an obstruction, that I think there was you may need a fence or something on top of a rock slope. Jeremy, you can, what was that one about? That was
yeah. So a couple of things, and I'll jump in on the sight line. That the stockpile location was something that you all commission members raised last time we met, I guess about a month ago. So, I talked with Mr. Trinkus earlier today with regard to the stockpile location. I think they're willing to accept a condition of approval that the final location of that stockpile be determined in conjunction with town staff so that it is located outside the line of sight. We talked about supplementing the silt fence with straw wattles or something along those lines, so it has a lower profile and does not block the sight line. And then with regard to the rock faces. Yeah, Todd's comment that we received, I think either today or yesterday, was fall protection on those rock cuts. So I think I added a condition there for you to consider of, anything above 36 inches, which kind of follows the building code if you're dealing with a retaining wall. But anything that's above 36 inches should have fall protection on top of it. I think that's a minor ask, just to keep anybody from dropping off the edge of those.
Right. And then we're going off on the site distance and where you measure it from. And one of his concerns was that is concerned that you're showing the intersection site distance within the limits of the existing survey, and thought it would be appropriate to have the town engineer or third-party traffic engineer conducted a field study of the existing intersection site distance to verify the existing conditions and distance, and to review their calculations. So I think having a third-party, verification is proper. So I think that would address this concern.
Did you say the third party would be done with a condition of approval?
Yes. Yeah. So that's also, these are also addressed by conditions of approval.
Got it. Thank you. Mr. Trinkus, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, just briefly, the sight lines which I prepared and submitted are based on a field survey by New England Land Surveying. It's to a class A2 standard, which is the horizontal accuracy, and what we call a T2 standard, which is a topographic accuracy. The information is valid. This is all field information. This is not taken from the state LiDAR. It's not taken from USGS. And, we draw a line, we draw all the grades in a cross section, and you show the profile. It's as simple as that. You don't need somebody independent, looking at this. And I'll tell you why, because I'm certifying via my signature and seal that this is accurate in the field. That's the bottom line. As a professional, I'm taking the liability that we have the sight line that I show.
Can I just say something for clarification?
Sure.
I don't believe that the survey we're talking about that SLR recommended was a topographic survey. I think he was referring to a survey of the traffic speeds on the road, which hasn't been done.
It's not going to, the sight line is the sight line. If the 85th percentile comes up at 40 miles an hour, there's no way there's 400 feet of sight distance out here at 10 times the speed limit. And basically this town road being Knollwood Drive, and was approved in an unsafe location back in the 1960s or 70s. So doing an 85th percentile monitoring isn't going to change the physical limitations that's out there. You might just find out what everybody drives. That's all it's going to show.
And Ms. Trinkus, I had a question because I'm reading and Mr. Swenson, the survey was talking about was referring to the sight lines, not to the speed.
I'm sorry then. I'm sorry.
Did your survey, was it just of the site? Because obviously the traffic concerns the roads and off-site stuff.
No.
So that, and I don't know to what extent, I know you made some representations and typically a survey is just of a property, so.
No, it extended along on Reservoir Road, or Reservoir Street, whichever we want to call it. It extends, to the west past Mr. Murphy's driveway, and also extends substantially east past the intersection of Knollwood Drive. It's all field information because when New England did this, I said, you've got to locate all the utilities and the topography in the road, out, these points. So that's what they did. So all the information shown on the plans is all field survey data.
And you said it was by who was the survey company?
New England Land Surveying.
Okay.
Coal Pit Hill Road in Danbury, just over the Bethel line.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Are they, is the survey in the package?
It's in the original existing signed and sealed survey is part of the original application, Chuck. There's also an existing conditions map in my set, which is the same information.
Okay.
That was all filed.
Sure. I just was looking at the more recent documents. I didn't know if they were the original signed and sealed survey by New England Survey. Okay, well, that's something we can consider. Thank you.
Jeff DeRosa here, would like to just kind of make a point or a question
Yeah.
regarding surveying.
Steve, I think what you're saying is accurate, that New England Land Surveying provided an accurate survey with topography. But did they actually go, and I think what SLR is asking for is an actual site distance measurement out in the field where they set up 10 feet from the edge of the line at 3.5 feet and look up the road and get a real field measurement, not something that's based on the surface in your CAD drawing.
It will show the same thing. I have done it both ways in my 45 years of practice, and the results are identical.
Identical, huh? You guys certified it?
Identical. Yeah,
Identical.
within a couple feet, because when I set up the instrument, I'm looking at a stadia rod, and you're reading to the nearest foot. So, you know, but it's just as accurate doing it as a profile or as a field measurement. It doesn't change.
I still
I-
think what
Yeah.
Todd is recommending, I think is appropriate for us to ask for. And then one other point about the site distance is the building used to be in the way. That was the issue. The site distance is site distance. You're correct. You used to have the building in the way that was shortening the site distance. So when you
No,
move the building, when
okay.
you move the building 5 feet up the road, we were no longer looking into the building inside the building.
A correction, the building was never in the sight line. It was 3 feet behind the sight line. It was never in the way. We shifted the buildings closer together to move that corner 5 feet farther back. It was never in the way from day one.
Even though you changed the way you measured the site distance from one drawing to the next on your
It was
revision.
never, that's true. It was never in the way, either way that I measured it.
If I
No,
may,
go ahead, Mr. Swenson.
yeah, sorry, Jeff, just going back to your previous point, I just want to say that I think that I agree with your interpretation. SLR is asking conduct a field evaluation of existing intersection site distance to verify the existing conditions. So, although I don't disagree with Mr. Trinkus that they will probably get the same number, very close number, or possibly even the same number. I think the request is for this, just a separate means of measuring it, so to speak, which I think is what you're saying.
I don't disagree with Eric. If that's what we're asking for, that I set up my transit 10 feet back from the edge of the travel way at 3.5 feet, and I have a friend with a survey rod, go out on reservoir, I'll measure that. I'm happy to do that.
I prefer the licensed land surveyor to do that.
An engineer can do that under our
Well,
license.
It's third parties. What we're
Well,
looking for.
Well, I'll go out there with New England Land Surveying. They can set up the instrument and I will go with the rod.
Understood, and we will discuss the terms of the condition of approval there moving forward. I will open it up to public for comment. Anyone here wish to speak, please come forward and state your name.
Scott
Address?
Murphy, 74 Reservoir Street. I still have concerns with the sight line because, and I get Mr. Trinkus is saying they measured it and it's all done off the topographic maps and whatnot. Somewhere around Saxon Road going west on Reservoir, that road starts an incline. That incline ends at my house and then it goes downhill. So I'm not sure if you're gonna get 250 feet without going over the edge of that, the crest of that hill. And you-
Understood, and I think that's why we're asking
Yeah.
in a condition that they show that. And I also have to agree with Mr. Trinkus that it's an existing condition from that road,
correct. And,
regardless of.
The other question I have is for Mr. Trinkus. How close to my property line is this blasting gonna take place? Cause it looks like you're taking a lot of rock out to bring it almost level, which would come right up to my driveway.
So respectfully, we do have to keep questions,
No, I know. I'm just curious as to how.
and Mr. Trinkus can answer that if he likes, but he doesn't have to, because we do have to keep our questions to the reasons why we denied it to begin with. But
Yeah.
Mr. Trinkus, if you have an answer that you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the The end of the rock cut on the west side of the site is just south of the portion of Mr. Murphy's driveway, which actually encroaches onto the subject property. You know, that's where we match grade. As it goes to the south, the cut, you know, obviously becomes deeper because the hill goes up. But that's the limit of it, is just south of his driveway, where it crosses over onto the subject property.
Yeah, because when it was ours, the property line is actually right on the edge of my driveway. So that's why and that's something I just was thinking of on the way here, was how far back are they gonna be?
Yeah, it's off the property line. It's not crossing over it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Anyone online like to have any questions or comments about the application? Seeing none, I'll move over to commission. We'll start online. Mr. Legnar, do you have anything you would like to say? I stepped away. In the meantime, if he stepped away, we'll move to Cindy. Do you have any comments or questions?
I'm good right now.
Thanks, Cindy. Ken?
I was wondering how we could have a conditional of approval if we don't really have the legality cleared up. I mean, how can we approve it if the attorneys are saying, yeah, maybe we're pretty close, but we're not there yet?
Chuck?
Yes, what we're saying is prior to any construction, you got to clear it up. That's basically what it says. We if this were not an 830G application, we maybe would, you would be on a more clear ground. I think we're just denial to show that you haven't shown you have the right to do this. But we're required under 830G that if there is a condition of approval to address an issue, you're required to do it, to address the issue. So that's the issue, and I think it can be addressed. We're just saying prior to any construction, you've got to, show that it's been addressed to the satisfaction of the town attorney. That's and maybe they can, and frankly, it'd be more efficient if they can. Then they can move forward.
Does that answer your question?
Kinda.
Okay. Anything else, Ken?
Well, what if you're under construction and you can't fix it?
Well, I don't think we're allowed to start until that's cleared up.
Okay.
They are allowed to start.
All right.
I am not building this, for the record.
Well, that's to help.
No questions at this time.
Jeff?
No, nothing.
Sproul?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't have any other comments or questions. I think everything gone back and forth between the applicant's attorney and engineer and our town staff has been helpful. I don't think we're gonna have any new testimony, so make a motion to close the hearing, right? You guys are, so I think we're all comfortable with that. All right, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for One Nola Drive LLC.
Second.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Legnard?
Okay, close it.
Yep. Cindy?
I'm on board with that.
Ken?
Yep. Close it.
Molly?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Unanimous there. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Should we should move that to our work session?
I mean, if you
We have
guys
to make
want to talk about it today, sure.
I mean, we could talk about it briefly because I know we just got a draft right before our meeting.
Yeah, so
We
you-
haven't had really a chance to review it.
yeah, so just.
You have
make a
it.
You guys,
motion.
sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Where do we go time-wise on that?
Yeah, you have,
What's our-
you have no time left. You're going to have to make a decision tonight. I mean, unless the applicant is willing to give you another 2 weeks to make that decision. Unfortunately, we're up against the clock.
We don't have much on our agenda, so we could, is everyone okay discussing that tonight? All right, so
I have a
Make
question.
a motion to add it to the agenda.
How do we close the public hearing, but then we don't have, no, doesn't a new clock start?
No.
For us to-
not for this. appeal
Not for this
process.
time.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a motion to add One Noah Drive LLC to our work session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. All right, moving on with our business meeting. we had two meeting minutes to review. We had the meeting minutes from our last 12/9/2025 meeting, and then our special meeting minutes from 12/17/2025. Did everyone have a chance to review the meeting minutes? Does anyone have any comments about the meeting minutes?
No.
Seeing none, we'll do the first one. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of 12/9/2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the meetings from our, the minutes from our special meeting 12/17/2025.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, invoices. We have an invoice for Hearst Media Group for the amount of $1,722.20. I have I'll make a motion. Go ahead.
Before we make a motion, I have a question,
Sure.
which is, we get these invoices sometimes not. What is our budget? Is there an unlimited budget? I mean, how do we know when we approve this that we have the funds to cover it? The town does, because who establishes the budget for?
Well, I guess I can speak on that, Mr. Chair.
Please do.
Obviously, we have a budget, but what ends up happening in the commission, especially P and Z, is that we often find ourselves having to go back and get more money because the notification requirements are established by law. And when applicants then come in and you guys have hearings and continued hearings, and we have to promote it by law.
Right.
So we end up going over budget. It's not like something you can just say, oh, we're going to stop doing it. The truth is, I love a less expensive option. But right now, the legislature in its infinite wisdom has not given that. So you guys, I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, you have to approve these, and
No, it's a fair question.
Trust me,
I cringe every time I look at that
No,
number.
no issue with approving
Yeah.
it, and it's a requirement and we have to do it, but
What ends up happening is if we go over budget at the end of the day, we'll go back to the Board of Finance or we'll move around other budget items because this is one of those costs of doing business.
And when the applicants, give an application, they do submit a fee as well, and part of the fee is, for the, notification.
They do it for everyone.
Is that a percentage? Everyone that's a public hearing, yes.
So this one would have been too? or-
No, not that they didn't, no.
Yeah.
First one.
Yeah, we get money in the beginning, I think, to come
Mhm.
back.
so we get money from the
Right.
applicant, plus the town
The
has
town has a
an
budget.
account.
What's the fee? What do we collect?
It depends,
Yeah, I'd have to
but
go
there
back and look.
is, I have to go, I don't know,
I
off the top of my head, I don't know.
I don't need the answer tonight.
Yeah.
But maybe next time,
If you,
you could give me what is
I
the
have,
annual budget.
I don't have that,
I can
but,
get it for you.
okay,
I'll
but
find it
I,
out, but
It's curiosity on my part.
but I could send you guys the fee schedule, I have a fee
I
schedule.
think both
for-
those things would be helpful. Fee
Yeah,
schedule
yeah,
and if,
yeah.
Dan, if you
Is
could
the
find
fee schedule set by state law or is that a town? We set.
at the town.
No, but the fee schedule we set will be required, but I don't know. I mean, it's basically whatever the newspaper.
Yeah, well, and so, and like, if someone comes in for a planning and zoning commission application, I give them a packet,
Mhm.
and then the fee schedule is a part of that packet. So if you want, I can send you what I
Yeah,
give
that'd be
them.
great. Does that change based on, I'm just interested,
No,
does
you're
that
fine.
change based on inflation or any, is that just kind of a set? amount?
Right now, I guess it's just a set,
Okay.
so
That must be the whole.
I have no idea.
It's a can of worms.
But
and I can
I'll,
go get all the.
I'll
numbers.
email that to you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
All right, so, sorry.
No. Would you like to make a motion?
I would, yes. I make a motion that we pay the $1,722.20 for the required notices.
I'll second that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you. All right, well, now move on to 5, work session, 1 Knollwood Drive LLC. I know that a couple versions of a draft resolution of approval we're going through later this evening. I know there were still negotiations or conversations, I should say, between the applicant and the town. So I appreciate, Jeremy, you getting that out there. Of the ones you sent over, the V3 is that the latest one that we're reviewing?
V3 is the latest, and I apologize for the last minute few changes. Those last couple of ones, there was nothing substantial. There were just some minor changes that Chuck had flagged, and I didn't pick up on that immediately. So V3 is the latest version. That's what's up on the screen right now, and it has all those conditions that we touched on during the public hearing. So lead the way. I'll scroll as needed, and we'll get through this.
Is it a pain in the neck if I asked if we took a recess and could you possibly print these, or is that first look? I know it's the very last minute here, just so we can actually see.
Sure.
I know it
Sure.
takes a few minutes.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to just take a quick 5-minute recess while we just have these printed out so we can see them.
Yeah,
So we can take care of this. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed?
Opposed.
All right. We pause the
Jeremy, do you mind, doing the recording real quick?
pause the
I'm ready.
recording.
Oh, yeah, I can do
Recording.
that.
A lot of it works.
I was gonna say, it's-
And then just mute the
Quite a
room.
bit.
Sorry about that. I just think it's going to be helpful to have it.
Yeah.
All
All right, recording has started.
right. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for accommodating us as we got our printed versions of the draft motion of approval for our work session at 1 Knollwood Drive LLC. We've all kind of started to look at it and comments amongst ourselves. So, Bob, did you have a chance to review it at all via email?
Yeah, I read it this evening. I read it twice, so.
Okay.
I'll be
Sandy,
able to
did you have a
follow.
chance?
Yeah, I read it when Amanda first sent them.
Okay, great. I'll open the floor up to the commission here if anyone has any comments or anything they want to add or discuss specifically.
No.
Bob, anything you want to address or discuss within the conditions of approval?
No, I think the conditions of approval cover almost everything now, so that's good.
Okay. Cindy, anything there?
Not really. I just agree with what was being said earlier, that how can you really, I guess our hands are sort of tied in that you have to give approval, even though we don't exactly know what we're supposed to be doing about these other issues.
Right. And I think Attorney Andrews covered that pretty well before. Jeremy or Attorney Andrews, do you have anything you want to add? I know you guys have been working diligently on putting this together for us. I know we've already discussed relatively recently about, everything on these added conditions. You want to provide any other color, or you think it's all been said?
I don't have anything specific. You saw a version of this last month. We've added a few conditions today, but most of what you're looking at was there a month ago as well. So if you had a chance to review it, prior to the last meeting, it hasn't changed much other than those few things that we talked about today, the silt fence, stockpile location. You can see on the screen there, condition number 5 is the one that pertains to applicant standing with regard to the ownership of Knollwood Drive, and then that third-party reviewer of the sightline. I think those are the only ones that we added to, and we did add some language based on the discussion from a month ago about the height of the stockpiling of snow.
Yeah, was it 4 feet that we were agreed on? Is that what we discussed last time?
That's
No,
What do you think it was?
I thought it was less than 3 feet. Because we got the explanation that for the past 5 years, the maximum snowfall that we've had is 25 inches. So we went, okay, take it another foot, give them a leeway.
Okay, so you went 3 feet. So we can make that change. That's easy enough. That conversation went back and forth a couple of different ways, I think, and I probably just had the wrong note in front of me. So we can make that change. That's easy enough to do.
I think if there's 3 feet, you gotta get rid of it. I agree with that. That's usually somebody sitting in a car. You're not really seeing over that.
Yep.
Anything higher than that. I think, are we okay with that?
Yeah. Now, I do want to discuss this, Jeremy, where it says, disposal off-site. That's a blank check. That means they come in springtime and dispose of whatever is left over. So I would like to see something that says within 48 hours.
Okay.
At the end of number 10. So the applicant, we're gonna read number 10 for the record. If a storm event deposits a quantity of snow on the site that exceeds the snow storage capacity of the area designated on the site plan at a height above, we're gonna change it to 3 feet. The applicant shall remove any such excess snow for disposal off-site, and we should add within
48 hours.
the following 48 hours of a storm. And then
the end of the storm event. I want to be specific.
Yeah, the end of the storm. And I think then because we discussed last time when we were saying, can we do that? That becomes a zoning violation if it's not done, correct?
Correct. Yep, that's correct.
So just so I can write it down and word it exactly, if the applicant shall remove any such excess snow for disposal off the site within 48 hours after the end of the storm?
After the termination.
After the termination of the storm.
After the,
I highlighted it on the screen there, what I typed in.
okay. The other ones that, just so we're just clear, we're just gonna kind of go back upwards from that. Condition 8, the applicant shall engage a third-party traffic engineer to conduct a field evaluation of the existing intersection site distance at Millwood Drive to verify the existing condition and distance, and to review the applicant's intersection site parameters shown on the proposed site plans dated December 3rd, 2025 accordingly. Mr. Surveyor, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, we're verifying the existing conditions, and distance, but we're making sure the proposed conditions don't impede the site distance to anything less than what it is. Correct. So is that clear that they're just gonna measure, like Mr. Trinket says, like, it is what it is at Millwood. I just want to make sure that, anything that they're building, the stockpiles, the house.
Well, I think that's where we rely on his sight line and his drawing to say that that's proves that it's not impeding on it.
And to review the applicant's site parameters shown on his proposed site plans. So that means.
Yeah. You're good with that?
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything on that?
Not on that.
Going up again. The final location of the stockpile proposed for the northeast corner of the site is subject to review and approval by town staff in order to mitigate any impacts to the sight lines of vehicles exiting Noble Drive. I think that's something that we asked for last meeting.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were concerned that
Really, we should put a site easement in there. They can't put in, can't do anything with site easement. That's what we can do. Because what about,
we can't write up an easement.
we can make them write up easements. Right, Chuck? We could make them put in a site easement right down the sight line, right?
I don't know if I use the word easement or easement, you think of like access and driveway, but you want a condition requiring that it be clear of obstructions, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's there's site easements. I've seen site easements before, but I don't even know if it's on their property. It might actually be out in the no man's land that we're talking about.
I think some of it is out in the right of way, and I think that's part of the reason why letting town staff and when we can be a little bit more specific there if you want, but I wanted to be a little bit loose in terms of town staff because it's probably Eric and Lieutenant Zavatsky that are going to be the ones that would rely on to take a look at that. But, you know, I think the idea here is that, you know, there's so much work on that site that pushing the stockpile way into the middle is really impractical. But, you know, we've got to make sure that the sight line is not impeded. So I don't know that we need an easement. I think giving the town staff the ability to say, yes, that location works. We're out here. We're evaluating the conditions. And that's my thought.
What about after construction to prevent like a homeowner from putting something that would impede the site distance? How are you going to prevent that?
Well, I mean, it's a problem with any corner lot, right? You know, they have to adhere to the site plan that gets approved. And so anything that's outside the site plan that's approved by you is a zoning violation.
Right, but they could just plant a shrub, right? It's on their property. I'm looking here. They could come out here and put some shrubs, right? And
You have some intersection visibility regulations within the zoning regulations. And so if there's an issue with that, we can deal with it through the enforcement process.
Okay.
I mean, we deal with it kind of on a regular basis. We were talking about a fence that was causing problems that got put in. And so it's not terribly uncommon, unfortunately.
Well, Jeff, you're talking about something more than a mailbox or something.
Well,
Yeah.
he's right. You know,
I mean, I see them all the time. I see site easements all the time. And, you know, you just compute one on the property. You can't do anything outside the property limits. And then it gets memorialized, and then everybody has to abide by it.
right.
Contractors, homeowners.
But I do think that to Jeremy's point, like that's kind of our code, our zoning code, that if there was an issue, someone would say, hey, this is an issue. Whether it's an easement in writing or not, someone's gonna bring it up, and it's already kind of covered within our town code.
I've seen them reduce fences in multiple places, in corners. So it gets enforced.
Right, whether we write something in here, which we certainly could, or we don't, a future problem, if it ever happened, would be somebody sitting at the stop sign being like, hey, that I can't see anything. They're gonna call the town and be like, I can't see down, sitting looking left when I'm exiting Knollwood. Jeremy or whoever the zoning enforcement officer is gonna look at it, and then they're gonna say, hey, clean this up. This is not, whether it's a zoning easement on a map or in a condition of approval, or if it's just citing our zoning regulations.
Right. Correct.
Rule?
I don't have anything on that.
Yeah, you have other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if we go to number 24, which is related to 21, when we say, all neighbors within 300 feet of the property, does that mean the boundary line, or, and it's ignorance on my part, I'm asking for a little bit of an education there as to what does that mean?
So typically it's 300 feet of the blast site. In this case, I think the blast site is so close to the property line that it almost doesn't matter, because you're talking the difference of a couple of feet. But we can be more specific there if you'd like.
Yeah, I would like to suggest that we use the property line.
Okay.
So we're gonna write all neighbors within 300 feet of the property line. It's just one word, right? Are to be included in the free blast survey?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone go with that?
Yep.
Good.
That's it on my.
That's it?
Yeah. Aren't you?
No, I'm hoping for some more from this school. Anything else from anyone? I have nothing else. I think we've kind of covered everything. And as much as, the muddy water that we know exists, I'm confident that our town staff and attorney has put the proper precautions in, that this obviously cannot start construction without some things cleared up. Okay, so I will make a motion to approve 72 Reservoir Street 830G housing development, whereas 1 Knollwood Drive Incorporated with an address of 34 Sunset Hill Road, Bethel, Connecticut 06801 is the owner of real property located at 72 Reservoir Street in the town of Bethel, CT. And whereas the property at 72 Reservoir Street comprising, I don't know why I just had a little brain fart, comprising approximately 0.751 acres in size, lies within the town of Bethel and is entirely within the RR10 zone. And whereas Trinkhouse Engineering LLC has submitted an application on behalf of One Knollwood Drive Incorporated for a site plan approval for the construction of 3 duplexes for a total of 6 residential units under the provisions of Connecticut General Statutes 8-30G. And whereas the applicant has submitted a site plan entitled Site Development Plans, 3 two-bedroom units, 8-30G development, 72 Reservoir Street, Bethel, Connecticut, prepared for D3 Realty, dated February 11th, 2025, and revised to December 3rd, 2025. And whereas the commission finds that the proposed residential use is consistent with those uses found within the residential RR10 zone, and whereas the commission finds that the proposed affordable housing development is consistent with the needs to increase affordable housing statewide, and whereas the commission finds that the proposed affordable housing development is consistent with the goals found within the 2020 Plan of Conservation and Development to increase the affordable housing within Bethel. And whereas the commission has relied on information provided by the professional engineer of record for the applicant with regard to stormwater management, erosion and sediment controls, excavation, landscaping, fire safety, and other pertinent regulatory requirements. And whereas the commission has replied on testimony submitted by the professional engineer of record, the blasting professional, the police commission, and the fire marshal, among others, in order to ensure that the project will not pose a substantial risk to health, safety, or public welfare. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Planning and Zoning Commission approves this application as presented and shown on the latest plans revised to April 7th, 2017, 2025. For
Is
the
that
reason
that date correct?
it should be December, no?
Right.
Jeremy, you're muted.
Oh, Jeremy didn't have it.
Got it.
Okay, correction. The latest plans revised to December 3rd, 2025 for the reasons stated above with the following conditions, each of which the commission finds to be integral to this approval. Conditions 1 through 25, including the testing protocols. Yep. And do I have a second? All right, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Legnard.
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
Ken.
Yeah.
Molly.
Aye.
Jeff.
Reluctant, yes.
I'm a reluctant yes as well. Cool.
Yes.
Okay, approved unanimously. Thank you. All right, made a motion by Mike. All right, moving on. Number 6 on our agenda, public input. Would anyone from the public wish to speak? You're all set? Anyone? Okay. Anyone online that wish to speak? David McCollum, you have your hand raised, please.
Good evening, Commission. For the record, Dave McCollum, 380 Mather Street, apartment 2110, Hamden, Connecticut. I don't have comment for you tonight as much as I'm appearing to thank you all. This is a little new for me. I don't really have any capacity to be speaking before you apart to let you all know. Obviously tonight, you didn't hear me introduce myself as a member of staff. Since your guys' last meeting back in December, I have accepted a position to work for the Connecticut DOT. And I started there this past Friday. I thought it would behoove myself for all the years that I had served this board or contributed to this doings of this board, to thank you all for the opportunity to work with you guys. I really appreciated and was grateful for the opportunity to work with you guys on some really challenging projects and navigate those situations with you. And I wish you all the best going forward. As a commissioner myself, I totally get what it feels like to be in your guys' shoes, navigating the public and everything that comes with that. My best wishes to you all for what you guys do, and again, just thank you very much. I'm really grateful for the time I have with you guys.
Well, David, I think the feeling is mutual. We thank you. I know just myself being on the board for just a little over 2 years, I appreciate everything that you've done. And then prior to that, just any applications I've come through, you've always been very helpful and very thoughtful. So thank you, and best of luck to you in your new role and endeavors there.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank
Michael.
you very much.
Michael,
Yes, Mr. Legnard.
I would like to thank David for all his hard work. A lot of times he defended us, we defended him. We all did it for the betterment of the town and the good of the town. And again, he meets my criteria of leaving the town better than he found it. So thank you very much, David, for your hard work, and good luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you for your kind words, Mr. Legnard. I really appreciate it.
Would anyone else here from the public online like to say anything? Seeing nothing. We'll move on to our planners report. Jeremy?
Let me get myself unmuted so you can actually hear me this time around. Yeah. So a couple of things. As you know, House Bill 8002 was passed. It's special session Public Act 25-1. CCAPA as well as the COGS are holding a big summit, I guess we'll call it, next week. I will be in attendance there. And the COGS are going to put out some summary documentation shortly thereafter to guide us all in what we need to do over the next couple of months to get our regulations in shape to be in compliance with the state law going forward. So more to come on that. I know I keep saying more to come on that, but we have been waiting for guidance from the state and from the COGS for a while. We're finally getting there. Dan Carter, your first selectman, and I have spoken about what needs to be done. So we'll put the irons in the fire as soon as we can. We'll probably start talking about this stuff late February, early March, so that we can get into compliance with the deadlines that come into place July 1. And then there's another deadline, January 1st, 2027, that we'll talk about a little bit later. So I'll keep you posted on that. Your existing zoning regulations as they are have been codified. Again, thank you to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance for funding that. I gave you a link to those within the staff report. So if you have that PDF version, you can click on that blue link. It'll bring you right in there. It's with your codes and ordinances. It's much more readable. It's easier to find. It's easier to search. Things are in the right order. There's no sections listed in appendices, and everything is legible. So we're pretty excited about that. A couple of minor issues that we have found in the codification process, E-code or general code has been made aware of those, and those things will be resolved. I updated you on David's departure, but he just updated you himself, so you're up to speed there. And I did submit you some updated information on where we are with the 830G moratorium application. We are in the process still of collecting certification, compliance certifications. They are coming in. It's a little slow, but they are trickling in. And so once we have enough to get to certify those HUE points, then we can submit that application. I'm working with Melanie very closely, along with the town housing administrator that the town has hired, Mark Nolan. So that's where we are.
Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
In terms of what we need for the application, will that be based on the 2024 certificates or the 2025 or both, or?
What the town attorney has advised is that we really need to have both the 24 certificates and the 25 certificates so that we can show a pattern of collecting those. Now, the 25 certificates are due now. So, you know, they should be rolling in. The folks that came in with their 24 certificates have already started to trickle in with the 25. So, you know, in a perfect world, we have everything we need by February. I don't really envision that we're living in a perfect world just yet, but we are getting everybody on board. And you can see in my notes that I think I've talked with just about everybody. We don't have anybody out there that's totally ignoring us.
So what I'd like to ask you is for you to send me the spreadsheet. Because I'd like to put at the bottom a little bit of a summary, for lack of a better term, matrix that shows total number of projects, what is the actual number of certificates that we have received. For example, in 2024, according to this report, we have received 6 certificates. Now, that may not count anything that we received after you sent this out, but we also have 2 projects that are listed as NA. I'm not sure if that means not applicable, not available.
So those are not applicable. I don't have it open right now, but I believe there are 2 that for 2024 did not have any COs. So they're NA for the 2024 certificates because there were no units occupied.
Yeah, okay. All right. So if you could send me that, I'll share with you what I suggest, because it'll make it easy for anybody as you issue this going down the line to say, okay, we've received X number of certificates, which accounts based on the points to so many points out of what we need. So it just makes it a little easier to follow as to what is the progress.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Move on to commission comments. Mr. Legnar, do you have anything?
Nothing.
Okay. Cindy?
Yeah, Jeremy, how far does the moratorium take us? Like, for how long?
4 years once it gets approved.
Thank you.
Any other comments, Cindy?
Nope, that's it.
Ken?
I'm all set.
Molly?
None from me, thanks.
David, farewell. Good luck. Good to know you. Thanks for all your help. Appreciate it. What's your role at DOT? What position are you taking?
If I may respond to that, so I am in the Environmental Resource Compliance Division for the Environmental Planning Unit in the Bureau of Policy of Planning. It's a mouthful. But I essentially do wetlands related and other environmental resource related stuff, similar to what my role was for the town of Bethel, but for the DOT.
Okay, maybe our paths will cross again. So,
yes,
good luck.
I actually was in an adjacent town on one of my first days here, so I very well may be in Bethel in the not too distant future.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Roll, do you have anything else you want to add?
So just repeating what everybody has said, Jeff, good luck. We'll miss you.
David.
I'm sorry.
Jeff spoke last.
Jeff said, sorry, David. We wish you the best. Thank you for everything you did, especially when my printer was down and you acquiesced to doing all my printing. Thank you. That's a separate budget, by the way. I do have a question for Jeremy, which is training requirements for commissioners. How many hours, by when?
So I sent out a memo before your last meeting, and I can recirculate that again, but it's 4 hours of training within your first year after you start. So any of the brand new members, so Molly's an example. So I'm going to use you, Molly, as an example. So you started whatever, December 1st, let's call it. So by December 1st of next year, you need to receive 4 hours of training, 1 hour of which has to be related to affordable housing, and the other 3 can be a myriad of things. And then it's 4 hours every 4 years thereafter. So it sort of equals out to 1 hour of training per year. And again, that 1 hour of affordable housing training is required within that time frame. I'll recirculate that memo. I think I also included a link to the guidance document from the state. So we'll get that out to you again.
Yeah, I have a question. What about for alternates? Is it the
Same requirements. Yep,
Okay.
because you're required to step in at a moment's notice and
Correct.
be a part of the decision. So yeah, same requirements for you.
Gotcha.
All right, I just want to 2 quick points. I got email from Attorney Anders to myself, Jeremy, and Attorney O'Brien and Mr. Carter this morning, late morning, early afternoon, that the Nashville Road versus Vessel versus Bethel was approved by the judge, and by all accounts, it sounded like the judge was appreciative that we were able to work respectfully with both parties. And I just wanted to put that in the record that was approved. I also want to let you guys know that I did draft up a press release after our last special meeting, advised to hold off on that, but I think I am going to just send that out. Even though all that information, most of it's already out, but there's a couple other tidbits in there that, if someone wants to write up in a news story, they certainly can. But I just want to reiterate the point that I think we all did a really good job with the hand we were dealt. So giving you guys a quick update on that. Last thing, just a kind of a point, we're on the board, we can change our regulations. And with the previous application that was mentioned today, sightline regulation was brought up saying the Bethel code is 10 feet. And then versus a DOT standard, which is 15. Now, does DOT only, and this is a question for
Bethel
Jeremy.
doesn't have a code.
Okay,
I
I guess my question is,
Bethel doesn't have a regulation for sight distance, do they?
No, not when it comes to. I think there's something in the subdivision regulations for new streets, but it's not that specific. And that was the issue we ran up against a long time ago. I went searching for that, and you don't have a code.
so do typically towns have something that says 15 and they go by DOT standards that's 15 feet?
So, some do, some don't. Yeah, I mean, that's one way you could do it, is you could refer to the DOT standards if you wanted to.
Well, I would like to even if we put that into our regulations, I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but especially with 830G applications that are still going to come our way, and any other large development, that we want to make sure there's clarity, because sight distances when you add a lot of traffic to a road are an important thing.
Yeah.
So
It can be a safe thing.
right. Go ahead.
Really, I mean, one of the emails I saw from Attorney Anders was talking about a different body. Like when they were looking at past court practices, there was a different body that they approved, which was shorter distance. You know what that is? It's like transportation professionals or something, Chuck?
That's AASHTO Association Traffic something or other. I've heard of it, but I don't know I don't know what the initials stand for. It was another expertise group that had a lower standard than the DOT and the town. That case in the email, I was talking about an 830G case where that was the issue. Good news is that the court said that, having an adequate sightline is a substantial public safety issue, but the town standard was 20 feet and the DOT was 15. I think they had 11 in that case. And their expert had argued, well, we could even go lower than that, relying on the AASHTO standards, which was like 6.5 feet, because what they said was what happens is people actually creep into the intersection, before they make their turn, they sneak out. And so it's actually less. So that was and the AASHTO was based on, I guess, observational data that sort of confirmed, what it actually was. So in any event, that was a case where the courts said that the 11 feet was okay, even though the town standard there was 20 feet and the DOT is 15. And that was an 830G case again. So, yeah.
So you're trying to, what you're saying, Chuck, is even if we do this, they can just pull that card.
For an 830G, they may be able to, unless, it would have to be specific. In other words, a lot of times in 830G cases, you can't just point to, oh, here's what the rule is. If that were the case, nobody's complying with any of the zoning setback rules, right? You have to have to beef it up a little more. You would need an expert to say, well, in this case, because of these circumstances, I believe, and I find, and you find his testimony credible, and the judge believes it. So it might be possible, but simply adopting a rule, even though that's how you try to, it's weird because in normal life, you want to adopt rules because you want to treat everyone fairly. I wanted the standards this, and you got to comply. And that's why you made him, we got to make you, blah, blah, blah. But it's like an 830G. It's almost like a variance. It's like, no, you got to show the specific thing. It's not the rule thing. So anyway, I'm going off, but the answer is yes. You could adopt a 15 or 20 feet and it wouldn't necessarily prevail. You'd have to show more than that. You have to beef it with expert and you may be able to win, but not necessarily by pointing simply to the rule itself.
And thanks, Chuck, for bringing that forward. And what I want to say is it makes sense to still adopt a rule, but it may not get us out of
situation.
Yeah, just we understand.
It might make someone second guess the
Might-
project.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, oh, I don't want
If you guys go forward,
I still do think it's probably something we should put in the regulations.
yeah.
Jeremy, what's our next step for something like that?
Well, I mean, there's two ways we can look at this. I mean, it could, I would say it probably belongs in your subdivision regulations, because if somebody's building a new road and you have jurisdiction over it, it's because they're subdividing some land. And so that, from a regulatory standpoint, from the commission, I think that's where it would belong, because that's what we're dealing with is really what we're dealing with is new roads. Now we could also put something in there in the driveway section in your zoning regulations. It might make more sense to put it in the ordinance that covers streets and highways, or streets and roads, whatever the ordinance is. That's whatever the title of that is, and that would be a board of selectmen function. So I think the next step is I want to have that conversation with Dan, and maybe we'll kick it around with Melanie and figure out where the right spot is for that.
Perfect. Thank you. Now let me question: if it's a town ordinance, 830G planning and zoning regulations kind of go out the window, quote unquote. If it's a town ordinance, that goes out the window too?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they got to comply with wetlands, other ordinances. Yeah, no, that's a.
We still have to prove it's unsafe.
Correct.
No, but if we have a town ordinance, they go, oh, well, the code says this. Well, no, it's a town ordinance. Like Chuck just said, you have to go to wetlands, you have to prove that. So I feel like, you guys discuss it. Jeremy and Dan, please discuss it.
Yeah.
But
Let us do a little bit of research.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Sorry. Okay.
Speaking of ordinances, the violations, are you guys making headway on that?
barely, but we are. I mean, the issue is we've got 5 openings, including Dave right there. Things are pretty busy right now, but we've got it back from the attorney. We have a firm that's been working on these for us. I think at this point, we're probably a couple months out from just doing it through the board of selectmen.
Okay. Yeah, because we want to be able to sink our teeth into something with these moratoriums that, we're going to tell people, like, look, we're going to start.
Well, the
issuing
moratorium part, but
violations.
we're actually, we're talking about like
Issuing the violations
July,
that have.
all the other stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Believe me, it's been the fate of my existence wanting to finish this up.
Any other comments? No. All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Thanks, David.
Good night, all. Be well.
All right.
We broke